Hi everyone, welcome to the Daily Tech Show. I'm your host, John Myer. Before we get started, what is this show all about? I'd like to say it's for us geeks, but I think everybody's going to enjoy it. We're going to bring you interviews with public cloud leaders and some quick tech news around AWS. We also might sprinkle some of those other public clouds. But as most people know, I favor AWS a little more, so we might get to some of those other public clouds. All right, what is our show about today? Well, guess what? It isn't even about AWS. I'm sharing my favorite peer-to-peer web RTC browser-based solution for bringing video and audio streams to presenters into a live event production using OBS Studio called VDO.Ninja, formerly obs.ninja. Before we run through our list, if you haven't heard of obs.ninja, guess what? It's been rebranded to VDO.Ninja, and if you want to learn more about version 18 or other releases, take a look up here. If you go to obs.ninja, it will redirect you back to the awesome tool of VDO.Ninja. So don't worry about it. It is staying completely free. Also, if you'd like to hear more about the Daily Tech Show and enjoy some of my content, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, all that stuff down below. Now, let's get started. The very first thing I'd like to show you, you guessed it, VDO.Ninja. Let's get right to it. Now, let's talk about VDO.Ninja itself. If you go to VDO.Ninja, you'll be presented with a number of options. Create a room. We're going to actually talk about that in depth here in a second. The other one is add your camera to OBS. This is actually a very quick and easy way to record yourself within OBS and use all those features. Click on add your camera. I'll select my Blackmagic. We won't worry about the audio. Drop that. And now you have this awesome URL. You're going to click on it, go to OBS, and I'll add myself. Within there, do not forget to set the width, the height, and click on this control audio via OBS. If you don't do that, you will not bring in your audio. If I click OK, bam, there I am. And my audio will be brought in automatically. Now, I did not set any audio in this, so you're not going to see the bars going up, but guess what? I can go back and change it. Let's go back and see what that looks like. Click on my settings. All right, my sources, and we'll say Blackmagic. Close. And perfect. My audio is showing up. Back on this screen, let's go back one. We have remote screen share into OBS. What would I like to share? I can click on it. Maybe I want to share a window or an entire screen. At this point, I will just share my OBS test. Share, no audio detected. That's actually pretty great. Click close, click this URL, back into OBS, drop it right in there. Now, if you do have audio coming from your device, you might want to click the control audio via OBS. Click OK, and now I'm sharing my screen. Moving on to number 2, which is the director panel. Now, it's not a separate URL, but I want to show you this as a separate feature for VDO.Ninja. Let's create our room. Test video room, and then test video room 1, 2, 3, 4 with my super secure password. I've added to my room. I just want to talk about a few of the customization, but all these are available as customized prefixes that you can drop in the URL. This just makes it easier as a director to create that custom link. And I know I've said custom about 4 times, but it's very customizable. Some of the things I typically select are show display names, ask for display names. You have virtualized backgrounds, mini previews, show some tips, display the raise my hand, I've got a question, and you can see all these and utilize them. If I click custom again, it'll shrink it up. Now the URL has changed, and SL show labels and L labels. If I copy that link, I would like to join the room. What's the password? And then my name. All right, let's add our video. All right, and Blackmagic. Okay, I'll put myself on mute real quick. Notice in the director panel, I put myself on mute and I have this little status icon that I am on mute. That's pretty great because if you think about the number of guests you have in an environment and say they're talking, the director can go, hey, you're on mute. And I need one of those signs for all my recordings. If I click unmute, you'll see that the green status is starting to blink as I am talking. And the green down here is also going there. It probably needs a little bit brighter green to indicate that, but it's really cool and awesome. Now, how do I get myself into OBS? I'm glad you asked. Click on this solo link, come over to OBS, open it up, and we'll drop it in there. Do not forget to click Control via OBS. This is a browser source. It's just one of the features that I really like about VDO.Ninja and how we add it. Click OK, and bam, there I am. Now you see the audio is being controlled. If I don't want the audio to come across, click on mute, and now the audio is down. Coming back to the director panel. Now, I really love all the things that Steve has added to the director panel. Let's take a look at them. All right. Now, the very first and most important and very powerful button is at the top, transfer. I want to transfer the guest to another VDO.Ninja room. Think about this from a director aspect where I'm interviewing people, you know, in a talk show type thing. And I have 5 people sitting in the green room. I've got one who is live and online. But I don't want everybody to see them. I don't want them to talk. I don't want them to be confused. I can take that person and move them from one to the next. Pretty cool. Very powerful too. Also, message. I can send a message. Hello. All right. Then the message drops up. Maybe said, you're up next. If I can spell. Sorry, trying to type a little fast. All right. Now, we'll close that. The message will disappear after a few moments. Hang up. We're not going to test that button out just yet as we're moving through this. Solo talk. I can click this button and now I can talk directly to the guest. There is an upcoming feature that will allow a bi-directional, meaning the guest and the director can have one-on-one conversations. This could say, instead of sending a message, because it takes too long to type, I can say, hey, you're up next, are you ready? Or, you know what, I got to put you on mute. Which, speaking of that, is I can mute the guest. Now, there isn't an indication that the guest is muted. Now, if I click on this button, it still says unmute guest, and it doesn't say, though the guest could probably think, man, why am I talking and nobody's hearing me? Well, the director muted him. I think an upcoming feature is that there's going to be an indicator that director has muted you or something. Mute within the scene. Let's talk about this scene option. Everybody that joins this room is automatically added to what's called a group scene as long as this is toggled. And this is toggled by default. If I copy this link and I go to OBS, all right, and we'll drop it in here. Don't forget the video controls for audio. Now I'm going to guess, and you're like, okay, what is the difference? Why is that versus the other one? Now let me put up my little other camera. Let's see what that looks like when there are 2 guests added to the environment. Coming back to the control panel, I will copy this link and I'll add myself again to the environment. And this is going to be John number 2, because we don't have enough Johns. All right, we have the Logitech. Okay, you can see right here. Now I know that light is a little bright. And don't forget to hit that mute. All right, perfect. Or we'll have that backfeed. Okay, the guest is there. They're in the environment. What does that look like from an OBS perspective? There you go. Automatically added to the group scene. Well, back here, I can mute them in the scene. Now, you notice that I'm not having really any audio come across for this guy, but I do have for myself. What if I want to mute them in the scene? Coming back to video, we say mute in the scene. And now they're not talking. I fully control this scene. Maybe something's coming across that you need to, you know, zip their mouth, whatever it is. All right, scenes. Take a look up here. I have created a full-on tutorial on what these scenes are, from customizable to how you can create multiple ones in OBS and really what scenes are about. Instead of doing it within OBS, you can do it within VDO.Ninja, which will control it and save you a lot of time. Rainbow puke is as it says. It just fixes the rainbow puke issues that happen with the video. Scene stats. This is actually very interesting because you're really talking about scene 0. Everybody's dropped into scene 0. Now, it's not called out in the link. It used to be called out, but now it's default to that. You can see what your resolution is and really what the quality of your video and audio is. It's really great for troubleshooting. I am going to minimize the scene section options. Additional controls. Highlight my guest. Bam. It's like a speaker. You're an active speaker, and then I want to bring this up. They're talking. I want to bring them forward for this conversation. Maybe they're answering a question during the interview. Oh, I want to bring them back to the regular group. All right. What about hide my guest? Oh, where'd they go? I don't want them in the control anymore. And see those full-on controls and then unhide. Deafen guest is basically you want to mute their output, blind the guest. Well, guess what? Come over here to basically the group scene that you're looking at. And this is what everybody will see during the conversation. That's not the final output from OBS. This is the browser-based group chat where we're having it back and forth. If I want to say, oh, blind the guest. This is me. I'm blind. I can't see anything. Maybe we're doing a trivia test. Maybe I don't want them to see what's on the screen. But they can still see it. Still hear what's going on. They just can't see it. And we can deafen them that they can't hear our conversation. All right. Change URL. This is actually a forced change URL that will reload the guest page to a new URL. We'll send them to a new URL. This is very powerful. It's like a force. When you do a transfer, it doesn't refresh the page and it doesn't refresh those camera settings. This refreshes it to a new URL, which could bring them to another VDO.Ninja room. I'm not going to do it now because obviously I've got to reset everything to come back. All right. Record locally. I can record all of our videos right here on mine as a director, and I can record each one separately. Each one is a separate file that comes down. This is very good for editing purposes. Also, for some reason you want to back up that it's not going into OBS. Record remote, recording it remotely on the guest environment. They're allowed to record that. And I know I'm going pretty quick, but I've got so much to show you in a short amount of time. Let's talk about the video. Disable video. Well, as a director, maybe I want to stop the video that's happening in this screen to save on my CPU or video resolutions. Now I'm just paused into that environment. Here is just a normal one, and if I want to really heighten that preview, this is very CPU intense at the point because you're going to have a number of those, but look at that quality. I don't know why I need to look at the quality for that. I might just have the traditional one on so that I can see that it's still being active. All right, pretty cool. That's going on. Some of the other ones, your audio channels, I can set my audio channels for the environment. If I want a different channel for OBS, which that's a setting within OBS, is I'll have different audio channels for different persons. I don't typically do that, but it's definitely an awesome feature. Audio and video session settings, that's exactly what they are. Okay. I think I've shown so much here about the director panel. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of feedback. I think we're going to move on to some other features that are available within VDO.Ninja. Coming back to the screen, let's take a look. So number 3 is creating that reusable invite. Now, Steve has made a couple of options available for us. Reuse this, but the community has made some tools as well, and I'd like to show you them. Here's what the VDO.Ninja reusable invite looks like. Click on it, fill in it. You can give this an option. This is going to be test video room invite, right? And what else do I want to do? I can select some default options, even set my password. Test video room 1, 2, 3, 4. Add guest to a room, enter a room name. I had it as test room. Here's that. And I got some options here. Not too bad. Generate this link. Great. Here's what it looks like. Well, some of the features that are available within VDO.Ninja is this what is called like push, and you can have your own custom name. So say I want my own one already set into OBS. I could just take this right here, and this is my unique streaming ID that's available for you. But it gets a little complex after a while when you want to add multiple people and you want to send this invite ahead of time to others. So say you just want to create a calendar invite, and here's your link and here's your password. And when you join, you're automatically populated in OBS. Let me show you what that looks like from how I did it, and then let me show you some of those links. Okay, back in the VDO.Ninja director panel, I recreated my room, I've added myself to it, and now what I had is basically this stream ID that creates this solo link. And when I click on it, I can come in here and drop it right into the room. And now I'm automatically in there. Now, I can do this multiple times. It works out every single time. But now I want to plan ahead. I want to create each one of these as saying, okay, if I, let's disable this, because I'll show you what my environment, actually in this mix screen, it'll work out great. I'll say, here's John. And I want to drop this. And now I populate. But I want to have my guests automatically populate in the other screen. But I don't want to have to come back. And next time the guests come in here, I want to put their name. I can create a customizable URL that I can drop in there and automatically be added. Let's take a look at how I did it originally. And then I'm going to show you some of the community tools that were put together. Yes, I created an Excel spreadsheet. I have what's a password, room name, my name. This participant name will be that unique stream ID. So if you have multiple Johns, you might want to break it up just a little bit. But think about it. I can have guest 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to use this guest 1 as an example. I would take this. I would send this link to that person along with the password and say, hey, listen, when you're ready to join, join. Here's how you do it. Well, what did that look like? Here, exactly. All I did was capture those and put them into this URL. What did the OBS link look like? Click on OBS, and you can see that it came through with a lot. VDO.Ninja, all right, I'm going to add my view. My view is going to equal, the participant, the scene, the room, and then, oh, here's the password. Does this work? Well, yeah, of course. I've done this multiple times, so I'm going to come in and drop in my guest with the password. Now let's come back and add myself to the room. So here's my guest. I said, okay, here is your password. Now keep in mind, push equals guest 1. So that's what's going to pop up. Do our password. I'll join with my Logitech camera and no audio because I don't want it to come across. So I apologize as it's going to echo a little bit. Now, what's it going to look like in OBS? Perfect. My guest showed up just as I did it. I just might have to rearrange or move some things around. Man, that's a lot to keep track of after a while within the environment. Now, let's take a look at some of the community tools. I'm going to show you the one I really like first. I'll show you some of the other ones. They each have their own pros and cons and benefits. I think I just like the layout. This one is pretty cool. Here's my room. All right, let's put out test video room. All right, invite optional. This is actually the push ID, the ID of the guest. So let's do this as guest 2. And then our password, test video room 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have so many other features that I can enable, sharing guest and director options. But down here is the link to the room. This is the guest invite, the same one here. This is the viewer option. Here's the view. All right, I can look at this, goes into OBS. And then here is the director option where I can go to the director panel, which is this guy. It automatically creates those, and you can just click on it, and bam, you're automatically in the room. You don't have to even worry about it. This creates it ahead of time that I don't have to use a spreadsheet. So everybody, I'm going to drop the link to this one down below along with some other community tools instead of being requested for my awesome spreadsheet. Another tool for it. Let's talk about that. We have VDO.Ninja Trampoline, which pretty much does the same thing, but it has some other cool features. You have your GitHub, which I think that's very interesting on how they put it in there. And then here is your link to join it, which gives you all this quality that's typically selected by default within the URL parameter. These are all available to you, and we're going to talk about the next one very shortly, the website where you can get all of this information. Once again, I will drop this link down below for, I just think the community has done an awesome job with creating these URLs, including this one I'd like to promote a little bit. Okay, number 4 is the stream media file share, and it's exactly what it is. Say you have a family video that you took of possibly you doing a recording, your son's soccer game, whatever it may be, but during this troubling sometimes, you can't share them locally. Everybody can't come to the house, or maybe it's just too far away and you want to share it on a Friday night, a movie night, sit down and watch popcorn. Well, guess what? There is a really cool URL, I'll drop it down below, VDO.Ninja question file share. So / question file share. It's really awesome. I've showed this before and actually did a video on it before. Please take a look up here if you want to see it in a little bit more in depth, but I'll show you to you right here. Let's get started on that. We'll click choose our file, and then here's my file that I'd like to share. Now we'll bring up the file. Well, guess what? If I click play, and I'm not going to do it just this second, I have this link. This link is what you would send to whoever, another family member that you would like to see it or view the file with you. And you can sit at your computer, your laptops, and everybody can share it. You can actually do it on a number of TVs that are browser based. It's pretty cool to just sit down. And it's controlled by you. You press play, it plays on their end. So everybody is in sync. Let's press play and see what it looks like. All right, now we're pressing play. Oh, I didn't press play. There we go. I'll turn on the volume. See, there you go. You can hear that it's a volume. Yes, I was playing the dinosaur T-Rex game as a fun thing to do at the end of my shows. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll do it here. Maybe we'll do it at some other ones. But this is one of those hidden features or gems. Now, let's take a look at the last one. I know most people don't think it's really excited for documentation and wikis, but I think it's something that you need to take a look at because it has a lot of great information and contribution by the community. Let's take a look at some of those. We have the community contributed tools. These are where all those OBS invites, the link generators, some cheat sheets, and then the trampoline one that I showed you. This is the one that I was showing you for them to join that really like the interface for it. All right, but let's take a look. What is VDO.Ninja? Great, here are the Ninja documents. I think, Steve, you labeled it really well and awesome. How does it work? Use cases, breakdown on it. Yes, VDO.Ninja is 100% completely free. There's some awesome guides, and Steve has been really grateful to, share my stuff and put it into the wiki. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And then the last thing that Steve's working on is a color grading. I actually find this really valuable. I haven't set it up yet, but he did provide a YouTube video, so I don't feel the need for me to walk through those steps. But look at the difference between doing an OBS and then doing the grading walkthrough, utilizing an awesome tool that he put together. Down here's another example. I mean, look at the input that comes in and then the output. It really takes and brings out some of those colors. It's great for not only your streaming, but the recording that you might do. Steve, awesome job on this. Take a look. I will drop the link in the website below. Well, that's it, folks. I hope you really enjoyed this. And if you want to see more awesome content around VDO.Ninja and how it's used, if you're looking for something specific, please click like, subscribe, comment down below what kind of video are you looking for next, and I will break it down. And in fact, when the next release comes out, Steve and I will be sharing it, and I hope you enjoy. So stay tuned for our next one.